Greetings, everyone, and Happy New Year. This is my annual report about what the Center for Political Innovation has done in the year of 2023. Now, we've had scores of new members join, and we've engaged in all kinds of very serious activities aimed at spreading anti imperialism and a message of revolutionary hope and optimism among the American people. I will quickly go over some of what we accomplished in the year of 2023. On February 19th, the Center for Political Innovation sponsored the biggest anti-war protest that has happened in 20 years. The Rage Against the War Machine rally brought together a number of important personalities, different figures to oppose the drive toward war against Russia and China. We then sponsored a reception that took place after the Rage Against the War Machine rally, where we gave a platform to Scott Ritter. Our reception, held at a hotel near the White House, was attended by over 160 people. It was a great step forward for our organization. March 5th, we published this book, Where is America Going? Marxism, MAGA, and the Coming Revolution. The book has received a number of very positive reviews. It was featured on Kim Iverson's show, and hundreds of copies of the book have sold. I recently signed a contract for the book to be published in Chinese, and that's coming up in 2024. Now, March 25th and 26th, we held a 2-day Summit Against Hypocrisy in Washington, D.C. to counter Joe Biden's Summit for Democracy. 75 people attended this 2-day anti-imperialist conference. Peter Coffin created a documentary film about it. March 30th, 5 members of the Center for Political Innovation confronted Tsai Ing-wen, the so-called president of Taiwan, when she was in New York City. We confronted her saying, "Stop selling war in our country." The video clip of us confronting the Taiwan official went viral in Chinese media. We were featured in the Global Times. Center for Political Innovation joined the Libertarian Party and the People's Party to have a rally in New York City's Union Square, raising awareness about the need to stop the war drive against Russia and China. Our rally then marched from the Union Square Assembly Point up to the United Nations, where the New York City Peace March, convened by religious leaders, was taking place. We joined the religious rally where the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, that's facing heavy persecution at the hands of the U.S.-backed NATO regime in Kiev, was given a platform. I also took the podium to represent the Center for Political Innovation alongside a number of New York City's most prominent pastors, imams, and rabbis. And later, the Center for Political Innovation was invited to a reception at the United Nations to discuss future peace marches convened by clergy in New York City. In June, the Center for Political Innovation held a weekend workshop in Missouri. 40 people gathered for 3 days of socialist education, group bonding activities, discussion, and strategy. On July 10th, the Center for Political Innovation convened an event in New York City called Money and American Injustice. The event featured critiques of the U.S. legal system and how it unfairly targets low-income and working-class people. The guests of honor were representatives of the People's Democratic Uhuru movement that are currently facing an FBI, Department of Justice indictment, calling them Russian agents. Peter Coffin made another documentary film highlighting the event and how the U.S. legal system unfairly targets the working class. On August 6th, the Center for Political Innovation co-sponsored a National Day of Action called Humanity for Peace, convened on the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima. In Portland, Oregon, and in Chicago, we organized the rallies, and in New York City, we brought a very large contingent to join the rally, along with a number of other organizations. On August 27th, the Center for Political Innovation published this book, Letter to Bob Avakian, critiquing a prominent U.S. communist leader for his failure to stand with Russia and China, and exposing his ties to French intelligence and how he was used by the FBI to intimidate Jimmy Carter and harass Deng Xiaoping. On September 15th, the United Auto Workers called a strike for better wages and conditions. Among those striking was a CPI member named Tom Michalak, who stood on the picket line with his union brothers and sisters, presenting an optimistic anti-imperialist message of city builder socialism amid this important labor upsurge. On September 20th, during the United Nations General Assembly, the president of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ibrahim Riazi, sat down with myself the founder of the Center for Political Innovation, for a full interview. Now, the interview was broadcast over RT News, translated into many languages, and viewed by millions of people all across the world. In October, as Gaza faced a brutal bombardment at the hands of Israel, CPI members joined pro-Palestine rallies across the country, standing in solidarity with the Palestinians and arguing that the continued support for Israel and its crimes goes against the interests of the American working class. On October 25th, the Center for Political Innovation was formally selected by the Russian Foreign Ministry's Youth Office to lead the American delegation to the World Youth Festival taking place in March of 2024 in Sochi, Russia. We were honored to take on this responsibility and immediately spoke with the Party of Communists as well as the American Student Union. And we have now successfully formed a national preparatory committee for an American delegation to the festival. I personally attended the International Council of the World Youth Festival that took place in Moscow. November 4th, the Center for Political Innovation was a co-sponsor of the Black People's March on the White House, highlighting the Uhuru movement and their persecution by the Department of Justice. CPI member John McCarthy was invited to speak at the rally, and afterwards had dinner with Chairman O'Malley and the leaders of the Uhuru movement, who personally thanked CPI for our efforts and hard work in support of them. On November 19th and 20th, the Center for Political Innovation's president, Elizabeth Young, attended the 5th International Conference of the World Anti-Imperialist Platform in Athens, Greece. Elizabeth spoke to the gathering, highlighting the urgent need for anti-imperialist organizing in America and explaining CPI's role and activities. On November 30th, CPI organizers visited 3 different campuses in Portland, Oregon, and unfurled American flags and Palestinian flags, as well as a banner that said, "Money for jobs and schools in America, not weapons for Israel." Footage of these dramatic interventions that were very well received by passers-by and locals in Portland will be included in Peter Coffin's upcoming documentary film. December 1st, the night before our national convention in Portland, Oregon, we held an event at a church, along with the Party of Communists USA, to give a platform to Jyoti Brar, the leader of the World Anti-Imperialist Platform. She spoke and gave a lengthy presentation about the need to stand with Russia and China, the need to stand with Iran and the Palestinians, and the fight against opportunism in the international communist movement. On December 2nd, the Center for Political Innovation held its first national convention in Portland, Oregon. The event was attended by over 150 people: Scott Ritter, Garland Nixon, Syed Hosseini, Jyoti Brar, Lee Stranahan, David Rovics, and many other prominent guest speakers performed and spoke. In addition to that, we had guest speakers from Veterans for Peace, Seattle for Assange, the Party of Communists USA, the American Student Union, and other organizations. Chairman O'Malley of the Uhuru movement made a special video message thanking us for our support and supporting the conference overall. We also had video messages from Tara Reid and Craig Pasta-Jardula of the Convo Couch. On December 3rd, members of the Center for Political Innovation, who are of religious inclination, founded City Builders Ministries at a special gathering in Portland, Oregon. We discussed about building a campus ministry oriented toward anti-imperialism and working-class politics, showing that Christianity and socialism can overlap, especially in the 21st century. December 8th, 9th, and 10th, we had yet another weekend workshop, this time for new members in the Pacific Northwest region. A number of people have joined the organization since our December 2nd convention, and I think it's fair to say that our organization is marching ahead. Now, we intend to put forward an annual report like this every year, so that those who consider themselves to be friends, allies, or members of the Center for Political Innovation can see what we have accomplished. Those who've helped us to engage in these activities can see that the money they have donated or the time that they have taken to help us out is going to good use, that we are simply not wasting our time. We have big tasks to carry out in stopping the danger of a new world war, opposing the low-wage police state, and marching forward to build a new America. Throughout the internet, you will find claims that the CPI has dissolved or the CPI no longer exists, and this is just utter silliness. The Center for Political Innovation has accomplished a huge amount in the year of 2023. probably more than it accomplished in all the other years of its existence combined. Let me ask you, if a similar report were to be given by the leaders of a number of the so-called communist organizations in the United States, what would be in it? If Joe Sims of the Communist Party were to give a report about what his organization has done this year, what would they be able to say? That they campaigned for Democrats, they registered people to vote for Joe Biden, they called Trump supporters Nazis? And what about the Party of Socialism and Liberation? If Brian Becker were to give a similar report, what would he include? The fact that they screamed and yelled about abortions and demonized average American people while tailing after what the liberals were doing. The fact that they facilitated the very important upsurge of pro-Palestine activism that took place, but oversaw making sure it just repeated the same old slogans and remained isolated from the bulk of the American working class. What the Center for Political Innovation is doing is very unique and special. There is no other organization that's capable of fomenting the same kind of optimism, hope, patriotism, and city builder socialism. We have something very unique and special, and our project is doing something that no other organization is capable of doing. The reason we continue to have such success, and we are so well respected internationally, is because of our unique approach, pushing forward to build 21st century socialism in America and spread anti-imperialism among Americans who are now struggling, left behind amid the failure of neoliberal free market capitalism. And we already have big plans for 2024. We have already endorsed and given sponsorship to the Rage Against the War Machine 2 Defeat the Deep State rally, set for Washington, D.C. at the Lincoln Memorial on February 17th. We intend to be there in big numbers and make a good contribution to the rally. In addition to that, in March, we will be going to the World Youth Festival, called by Russian President Vladimir Putin in Sochi, Russia. At the gathering, we will join with anti-imperialists, young communists, and anti-imperialist forces from around the world to speak about the new emerging economy centered around the BRICS and the need for technological innovation and expansion of living standards and a higher life expectancy for all. In addition to that, we are planning to have a national workshop in Vermont this May. At the national workshop, we will roll out the second volume of our educational textbook. We already have volume 1, We Are City Builders, but volume 2 will be coming out, and it will accompany a new set of classes focused on organizing and the history of revolutionary working class and anti-imperialist movements in the United States and what we are trying to do now in our time. CPI also intends to be involved in upcoming anti-NATO mobilizations in July. We expect to hold another national convention, this time in the Midwest region, most likely in the weeks following the 2024 presidential elections. The focus of CPI in our upcoming year will be really taking to heart our slogan, out of the movement to the masses. Social media is much more controlled than before, and online recruitment activities have their limits. CPI is reinventing itself to become an outreach-oriented organization with members witnessing socialism in their neighborhoods to their co-workers and their friends. CPI wants to reach people who would never go looking for this kind of message or ideology. We call on people who want to find their voice, want to join a community, want to spread hope amid so much pessimism to join our ranks. We will put you to work. So much needs to be done to build an anti-imperialist movement and a network of activists here in America. Furthermore, the Center for Political Innovation depends on donations from supporters, allies, and members and friends to carry out its work. Holiday season is a great time to send a gift to our organization to help us continue to do the work that we do. Giving to some social media personality who entertains you, or one of the same old peace activist groups that has marched for years and grown smaller and smaller will mean much less. We at the Center for Political Innovation stretch every dollar we receive in contributions to make sure that our organization is growing, thriving, and conducting vital anti-imperialist work. We are forced to think of how Vladimir Lenin told his followers that if the situation changes in 24 hours, the tactics must also change in 24 hours. We are also forced to think of how he said, There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. There is no doubt that we are living in vital times here in the United States. We expect to experience substantial growth in the year of 2024, but we will need your support in order to do it. Members, prepare to be more involved. Friends, prepare to see more exciting activities and events that you can participate in. Donors, please give generously to make sure that we do these things with the resources that we need. I wish you all a happy holiday season with your family. Let me remind you that whatever hardships, isolation, and pains you are suffering are only temporary, as a new wave of hope and prosperity, generated by the heroic struggle of the people and the new rising alternative economy centered around Eurasia, is on its way. Future generations will look back on us with admiration for our ability to endure and refuse to back down in the face of the desperate viciousness of the dying old order. With revolutionary love and solidarity, I wish you all a Happy New Year.